Have you ever tried explaining your day in English and suddenly realize you sound like a robot? Hey everybody, welcome back to English with Adam. My name's Adam, and today we're talking about how to describe your daily routines in a way that actually sounds interesting and real. Because native speakers usually don't like a list of actions like a robot. They don't say, I woke up, I ate breakfast, I went to work. I mean, technically, it's correct, right? But it sounds flat. Native speakers tell little stories. They add feelings, details, problems, successes, and all that good stuff. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that using better vocabulary, natural storytelling, and a mix of English tenses. Alright, first point. Let's start with the morning. So imagine somebody asks, how was your morning? A lot of learners answer, it was good. But listen to this instead. Honestly, my morning started terribly because I overslept and I had to rush out the door. That already sounds more natural, right? So let's break this down a little. Instead of I woke up late, you can say I overslept, I slept through my alarm, I was rushing around all morning. Those expressions sound much more conversational. Here's another example. I was making breakfast when I realized I had forgotten an important meeting. Notice that grammar there. I was making breakfast. That's the past continuous. We use it for actions that were in progress at a specific moment. So, I was driving to work. I was answering emails. I was getting ready. Very, very common in storytelling. Now, let me give you a calmer morning example. Today actually started pretty smoothly. I made coffee, checked the news for a few minutes, and went for a short run before work. That sounds relaxed, organized, and natural. And do you notice the small details? Coffee, news, short run. Those details make your English feel more alive. You don't need complicated language. You just need descriptive language. Instead of I ate breakfast, try I grabbed a quick sandwich, I ate toast and coffee, I picked up breakfast on the way to work. Little changes make a huge difference. So just be more descriptive with your words. Alright, moving into the middle of the day, commuting and work. This is where learners can really improve their storytelling. Instead of saying, I went to work and it was busy, try this. The commute was exhausting because traffic was absolutely terrible this morning. Or the train was delayed, so everybody was getting frustrated. You can even say, oh, the bus was delayed since people don't really use trains anymore. At least not in the US, where I'm at. Anyways, see how much more visual that feels? And native speakers love describing commuting problems. People complain about traffic everywhere, so I like talking about it. You can use expressions like traffic was backed up, the highway was packed, the train was crowded, I got stuck in traffic. Very natural phrases. Now let's talk about work tasks. Imagine you arrived at work and had too many emails. Instead of I answered emails, you could say I spent the whole morning clearing an email mountain or a mountain of emails. You can also say something like, or I was catching up on messages for hours. Now, here's another important thing native speakers do. They describe emotions connected to tasks. For example, I was feeling overwhelmed at first, but things slowly got better during the afternoon. That sounds human, sounds more real. Or I had a difficult finance report to finish, or hard report to finish, anything like that. And honestly, it took way longer than I expected. That little phrase, longer than I expected, makes you sound more natural. And here's a great expression: it paid off. For example, I spent hours preparing for the client call, but it really paid off because the meeting went well. That would be a good way of talking about success and adding a little something extra to your sentence. Alright, now let's move on to the afternoon. One thing that makes English sound fluent is connecting events together naturally. For example, by the afternoon, I had already finished the hardest part of my work, so I finally felt more relaxed. That phrase, had already finished, that's the past perfect. You don't need it all the time, but it helps when talking about something completed before another moment in the past. So let's talk about accomplishments. Native speakers often describe relief after stressful tasks. Like, I was nervous before the presentation, but once it ended, I felt so much better. Or the client loved our ideas, so the whole team was pretty excited afterwards. That sounds conversational and emotional. And notice how these examples mix grammar naturally. Past simple, past conscious, sometimes present perfect. That's exactly what fluent speakers do. You not need to know exactly what past simple, past conscious, and sometimes present perfect mean. Just know how to add them to your sentence, and over time, even if you don't realize you're adding them, they just come naturally. But speaking of, a lot of English learners do struggle with the present perfect. Here's the key idea to make it easier. We often use present perfect for some things connected to today, when the day is not finished yet. For example, I've already sent the slides. I've finished most of my work. I haven't had lunch yet. Or I've talked to 3 clients today. That sounds extremely natural in any conversation. Compare these. I sent the slides versus I've already sent the slides. The second one feels more connected to the present moment, and native speakers use this constantly. Alright, now on to the final part of the day. Evening plans. This is where future forms become really useful. Native speakers commonly use going to. For example, tonight I'm going to watch a documentary and relax. Or I'm meeting my family for dinner later. Very conversational. You can also talk about weekend plans naturally. Like, this weekend we're going hiking if the weather stays nice. Or we're going running, or we're going out to the movies, anything like that. Or I'm gonna go and take it easy and catch up on some sleep. Take it easy is another great expression, very common. And honestly, these small expressions make a huge difference in fluency. Alright, before we finish, let me quickly summarize the big lesson from today. If If you want your English to sound natural when talking about your day, don't just list actions. Tell mini stories. Add emotions, details, problems, reaction, or transitions. And try mixing these grammar structures naturally. Past simple for finished actions. I grabbed a sandwich. Past conscious for actions in progress. I was working on a report. And present perfect for things connected to today. I've already replied to the emails. Future form for plans. I'm going to watch a movie tonight. That combination makes your English sound smooth and fluent. Alright, everyone, that's it for today's episode of English with Adam. I hope this episode was useful to you. And remember, most English speakers don't know how the sentence works, it just comes naturally. So even though at the beginning it's frustrating for you to learn how to form the sentence, over time it will just come naturally and you won't have to worry about specifics. It's more about telling a story, making things go together instead of just having a list and then just ending the conversation right there. The more conversation you have in English, the better you get at it. So if you have any suggestions or any questions, just leave in a comment below. And again, my name's Adam. Thank you for listening and have a good day.